Birthday hour, birthday outside, birthday hour, birthday outside, birthday hour, birthday outside. Oh, praise unto Yahweh outside, double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone, and honest you brothers will be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. So I'm back out here again in the name of Yahweh outside. Okay, through the mercy of Yahweh outside. Lord's will to get into some edification. Okay, going into scriptures, prophecies, all that, and you know, there's you got a few things happening within the world right now. So I wanted to get into some of those topics, like how you got the whole world basically moving towards de-dollarization. That's an important thing because that's going to lead towards what's known as the RFID chip, the mark of the beast. It's also going to lead to what's known as the World War III. Okay, because what happens is, and I did a video on this, okay, this week, and maybe even the last time I was out here, okay, but what happens is you have a period of time where you have what's known as trade wars. Okay, we're in a time where you have trade wars popping up all over the place. You got a financial conflict happening between Russia and America. You got a financial conflict, a conflict happening between America and China. Okay, you got a financial conflict happening between Iran and America. And who's at the center of all of this? Okay, the place known as Babylon within the scriptures, which is America. So I want to start off here within the book of Revelations, the 17th chapter, and Lord, we'll just ride off the script, okay, with some of the topics that I have presented, and just go in the script, man. So the book of Revelations, the 17th chapter, and the first verse on down, I'm probably going to read the 17th verse, okay, going to various precepts associated to that chapter, but also to go into the 18th verse, okay, because when you go into the 18th verse, you begin to see the whole narrative that the Most High put forth, okay, regarding the place that you know as the United States, and pretty much what the Most High was going to do to that place. Okay, you see the whole entirety of it, all right? So the book of Revelation 17 and 1, it says, and they came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials and talked to them, saying, come hither, and I'll show unto you the great judge, the judgment of the great hall that sitteth upon many waters. Now what's going to happen is when you read down further in the verse, it's going to tell you about the mysteries and all this, that, and the third. But just to jump the gun, okay, so to speak, the woman that sitteth upon many waters is talking about America. Okay, and those waters, if I remember the precepts correctly, is talking about what? It's talking about all the peoples, all the nations of the earth. Because when you check it out, okay, when you find out what the world reserve currency is, then that prophecy stands. Okay, that prophecy fits, so you can understand. Okay, when you go into who are the main consumers, and therefore who is the nation that's going to where these other nations, okay, whether it be Iran selling oil, okay, or the Chinese selling products. Pretty much, they all go and they sell their products onto one person, man. Meaning to say that particular nation is above all the other nations that are upon the face of the earth. Matter of fact, if I go to the book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, we can expound upon those ideas a little bit more. So the book of Isaiah, okay, 47 and 1, it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. So the virgin daughter of Babylon, okay, is alluding to the fact that what? You had the you had the ancient Babylonians, okay, that existed, and they existed up until what? Up until the time the Medo-Persians took them down. All right. So and the place still existed. Okay, it exists up until this day. You know the place is Iraq. Okay. So you had a prehistoric, or rather not prehistoric because it's within the history, but you had a ancient historical site known as Babylon, but also you had a prophetic, okay, a region known as the daughter of Babylon. Now, when you go into the scriptures within the book of Psalms, it tells you that Edom, okay, which with the Edomites, okay, are the daughters is the daughter of Babylon, which I'm gonna search that scripture right quickly, okay, because that goes to show you when you're reading about the daughter of Babylon, when you're reading about, okay, the prophecies concerning Babylon. Right, you got two situations. You can go about it two ways, but ultimately it all comes down to one thing. Okay, so you can go about it, you can read it historically, or you can read it prophetically. Okay, but the reality of the situation is the vast majority of those prophecies where he's talking about Babylon is talking about America, man. Okay, so let me just quickly search out this scripture, raise it. I don't know if you spell raise it with an S or a Z, so it's with an S. It's within the book of Psalms. Raise it.
And so I was like, I gave them all the change for them.
Okay, here we go. So the book of Psalms 137, and let's see where we can start from. Okay, so yeah, we can start from the top pretty much. So Psalms 137:1, it says, by the rivers of Babylon, okay, there we sat, yea, we wept, and we remembered Zion. Because when you check out the history during the times of Jeremiah the prophet, okay, when Jeremiah was on the scene, and you have particular kings within Judah, because at the time Jeremiah was on the scene, you already had it to where what? The Assyrians had carried away captives, the northern tribes, the Latin-speaking tribes, Gad, Reuben, and all of that. Okay, the vast majority of them was carried away into captivity underneath the Assyrians. Now, by the time the Babylonians came about on the scene, okay, you go to where you go a province, okay, name is, you know, now you know it as Judea or whatever. And there you have predominantly Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and really a remnant of the rest of the 12 tribes. Okay, now what happens is you had it to where what? The prophet Jeremiah and many other prophets basically told Judah, okay, to stop going the way Israel went, which was to do what? Which was to follow after the idols, man. So when you had the Assyrians take down the northern tribe, okay, the Latin-speaking tribes, okay, well, you know, Reuben, Gad, and so on and so forth, they was taking it down on the account of the sins of Jeroboam. Because when the kingdom was split after King Solomon, when you had Rehoboam and Jeroboam, when the kingdom was split, basically what the tactic was, the political tactic was to have it to where the Latin-speaking tribes, the northern tribes, okay, basically come away from the customs of Israel. Because when you go into our so-called laws, okay, and our customs, one of the major customs that plays out for every Israelite man and woman is that they have to come into the land of Israel and pretty much worship the Most High in Jerusalem, if I remember correctly. Okay, and I believe it happens a few times. I think it's either 3 times or 5. I think it's like 3 times in a year. Basically, wherever you may be, you was basically supposed to come back onto what? Onto the main hub, so to speak. Okay, the Passover is one of those things that comes to mind as well. You had, all of Israel had to come basically back home to the home hub. So when the king over the Latin-speaking tribes came into power, he made the political decisions to set up certain individuals, okay, to basically become the spiritual leaders, but to be the spiritual leaders in wickedness, man. So they weren't pushing the customs of Jacob, our forefathers, and the law of Moses, and so on and so forth. They came about with a new customs, man. Okay, and that made it to where what? Those different Israelites that would have otherwise started following after the king of the Jews, they kept him with the king of the northern tribes, but they was worshipping idols. So the Most High sent the Assyrians, and the Assyrians took him down. Now after that, you had it to where what? You had the region that's known as Judea, and pretty much what happened was they started following after the same idols that the northern-speaking tribes, the Latin-speaking tribes had followed after. So the Most High sent the Babylonians after them, man. So when you're reading this, okay, when we're reading from the top of Psalms 137, you're reading what was happening after the Jews were taken into captivity underneath the Babylonians. Okay, so it says Psalms 137:1. It says, "By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat, yea, we wept, and we remembered Zion." Okay, because when you're in a foreign land, okay, and you're being held captive, you ain't thinking about nothing else but going back home, man. Okay. Matter of fact, even the Israelites that was taken under the Assyrians, they said, look, we can't go home like how we was before. Let's go into another land, which we now you know it as America, which was South America. That's where you get all of those Latin-speaking tribes over there. You know, Gad, Reuben, Zebulun, and so on and so forth. They went out there into South America. Okay. Now continuing, it says here. But even before they, like I said, even before they went over there, they was thinking about home. Okay, so it says here, the second verse, it says, "We hanged up our harps upon the windows in the midst thereof, for there they carried us away captives and required of us a song." Because underneath them Babylonians, just like how Jake was taken out there into the Americas to serve hardcore slavery, we did the same thing underneath the Babylonians, man. So you got the same story repeating itself. That's why you go into the book of Ecclesiastes, it says that what? Ecclesiastes, it says that what? Okay, there's no new thing underneath the sun. All right, so it says here, third verse, it says, and they that carried us away captives required of us a song, okay, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, okay, sing one of us the songs of Zion. And that's pretty much what they was doing, and ultimately that's what they're doing to this day. That's why you have individuals like Jay-Z and so on and so forth. Basically, them guys are all about mirth, man. Okay, they're fulfilling their purpose to their masters, which is entertainment. Okay, that's why you see it to where Jake, regardless of LeBron James, of Jay-Z or whatever, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans ain't moving from the position that they're in because they're in hardcore slavery, man. The same thing that was happening in Babylon. You had individuals that was up in rank and so on and so forth, but ultimately, the vast majority of the Israelites were in hardcore slavery, man. Now you check it out. They required, when you check out the book of Daniel, it says that what? It says that they took the smartest of the Israelites, man. Okay, the guys that was good in astrology, okay, they was good in mathematics. Those are the ones, the king's family, okay, the noble families, those were the ones that are carried away into Babylon. So, I mean, it was catching hell, okay, but they was of use. But really, when you check out the transatlantic slave trade that played up on the Israelites into the new Babylon, okay, you find out that what? That we was catching hardcore slavery underneath Esau, which is the new modern day king of Babylon, man. Okay? So it says there, Psalms 137 and 3, it says, for they carried us away captive and required of us a song, and they that wasted us required of us mirth, saying, sing one of those songs of Zion. How shall we sing, okay, the Lord's song in a strange land? Okay, so ultimately, how are you going to keep your customs? Because the scripture speaks about what? Okay, returning unto the old, basically, how the Most High was going to give the elect that new song. Okay, and when you go into that thing of a new song, that's talking about the whole entirety of our customs. Okay, the worshiping of the true, the worship of the Most High in truth. Okay, the name of the Most High, that's an important thing. Okay, the customs that we observe, those are important things. How are you going to do that within a strange land? Okay, it says here, continuing, it says, if I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my hand forget her cunning. All right, if I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. Remember, O Lord, okay, so this is the point. Okay, Psalms 137 and 7, it says, remember, O Lord, which is the Most High Yahweh, okay, the children of Edom. Okay, and this goes to show you that what? When we're talking about Babylon here within the so-called New Testament, okay, we're talking about what? We're talking about the children of Edom, man. Okay, so it says, remember, O Lord, the children of Edom, because by the time John the Revelator was on the Isle of Patmos, okay, shoveling salt, okay, you already had it to where what? Babylon had dwindled as a regional power. Now it existed as a place, but it weren't prominent within the world like that. For it to be what? To be the place where it sits upon many waters, that the scripture says. So this was talking about a completely different region, man. Okay, this was talking about a completely different time, completely under different circumstances. Okay, so it says there, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom. Okay, in the day that they said, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even unto the foundations thereof. Because when you check out how Esau has conducted his business from the foundations, okay, basically they've infiltrated all the major empires that you had. You had when the Medo-Persians were in power, you had the Haman. Okay, he was like a sleeper cell agent. Okay, he was getting up there within the ranks of the Medo-Persians, and they was basically what? They was in preparation of like staging a coup, man. So that what? Edom will become the next power. But see, the Most High didn't set it up like that. And the same thing, you had it to where when the Babylonians were in power, you had certain Edomites saying unto the Babylonians, certain Edomite advisors, so to speak. I'm just speculating. This is not scriptural. I'm just speculating because you have the same thing happen when the Medo-Persians were in power. So, no, I'll be fine, thank you. But thank you very much. I got enough chocolate for the both of us. Okay, so pretty much you had it to where Esau, okay, he was always saying unto the different rulerships that you had back then, or he was pretty much saying that what? okay, that they should go out there and destroy Jerusalem, because they remember the times of King Saul, and King Saul was, okay, massacring the Edomites. Okay, he was supposed to commit what was known as that's according to the Bible, man. Okay, he was supposed to commit what you know today as genocide. But see, that was in righteousness, man. Okay, when you check out what the Mosai instructed unto Saul to do, that was in righteousness, because ultimately, when you go into the prophecies, the Mosai requires the same thing of the house of the Edomites. They're going to be wiped. They're going to be bound and wiped off of the face of the earth. But see, that wasn't for the time that King Saul was ruling, and the Mosai is going to have it happen in what? In the time of King David, when the tents of Judah, okay, and Jerusalem are established, the tabernacle of David is established, fulfilling what is written about within the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, and around about the 10th verse. Okay, so but they remembered that they had the history. Okay, they remembered what King Saul and all of that had done unto them. Okay, how when King David was in power, okay, basically, I believe it's called the Battle of Salt or something like that. How basically you had all kind of Edomites just obliterated, man. So they remembered all of that. So every time they had a situation that they could manipulate, whether it was the Medo-Persians, the Assyrians, or whatever. Not so much the Assyrians, that's not within the history, but certainly the Medo-Persians and certainly the Babylonians. And ultimately, when they came into being in power, when they came about the time of what's known as the time of the Greco-Roman Empire, they was always looking to pour hell upon the Israelites, man, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. And that's how we know who Edom is to this day, because they come underneath the same vibration. Okay, they come in the same spirit as they did in the ancient times. Okay, when you check out what they did unto the atrocities that the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, okay, had gone through what's known as the transatlantic slave trade, we can easily couple that, okay, or we can look at the parallels between that and what happened in the history unto the 12 tribes of Israel, okay, what the Edomites tried to do them against the 12 tribes of Israel, man. We can see who Esau is, okay, or who he is today. So the 7th verse, it says, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, okay, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundations thereof, of which, when you go into that word, raise it, okay, basically it means what? To be bare, okay, to be new, to uncover, to destitute, discover, empty, okay, raise, pour out, basically to wipe it off of the face of the earth. And that's what them Babylonians did. You check it out. You check out what happened. Basically, the Babylonians, they was starving Jake out, man, to the end that you had certain Israelite individuals that was eating their babies. That's within the account within the book of Lamentations. Okay, so the rain's coming now. That's fine. That's laminated. It should be fine. Okay, so you had situations where Esau was always looking to get the upper hand, man. Okay, he was always looking to what? To put hell upon Jake, because they remembered the history. And ultimately, it goes back onto the birthright. And that's the main thing that they remember even unto this day. They remember about the birthright. Okay, they remember that what? That their forefather Esau gave their birthright up for one morsel of meat. So they're trying to achieve their birthright in what they was actually given, which was a great sword. So they come out with technologies for what? The ICBM nuclear missile, and the byproduct of the ICBM nuclear missile, the IBM, and all of these technologies, they implement it onto what? Onto obtaining the birthright. Okay, but see, they ain't gonna be able to achieve all of that. The scripture says that what? The Mosai was gonna put them in dire straits when they was about to achieve their ultimate heart's desires, which is to have this whole world chip. Okay, which is to have everybody have what's known as the RFID chip, the mark of the beast. That's within the book of Revelations, what, the 13th chapter. Okay, so continuing, Psalms 137. Okay, Psalms 137 and 7, it says, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundations thereof. And here's the point. Okay, O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed. So basically, what is it telling you there? That the daughter of Babylon is Edom. And we know the Edomites today to be what? The so-called elite banking families, okay, and their so-called kingsmen, okay, who are the people that rule the world right now. Like the book of Job says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked, all right? He covereth the faces of the judges thereof, if not wherein, who is he? Okay, so it goes, it says, let me read that again from the 7th verse. It says, remember, O Yahweh, the children of Edom, in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundations thereof, or daughter of Babylon, who ought to be destroyed. So who's to be destroyed? Who ought to be destroyed? Who's that referring to? You check out the prophecies concerning Edom, you find out the Mosai's wants to basically the Mosai's plan from the get-go was to get rid of Edom, man. Okay, right up until the point that we're living in right now. He's still going to get rid of all of them Edomites. You go into the book of Obadiah, which I might get a little bit later on because it'll tie nicely into this whole thing. Okay? But you go into the book of Obadiah or the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter, and many other scriptures, you find out that what? The ultimate end of the Edomites is that they're gonna be taken off the face of the earth. Okay? Because why? Because ultimately the Most High created the Edomites for the express punishment of the Israelites. That's why the scripture says that what? All right, destroy the teeth or Yahweh, okay, of the young lions, okay, and it goes something into what, which is thy sword, okay, so to the punishment of the Most High, the sword, okay, which is Esau. So the Most High created Esau as what? As punishment for the Israelites. So whenever the Israelites was, going off, the Most High was sending them Edomites, that strange nation, to basically jack them up, man, okay, so that they get back to doing right, all right. So now continue. Now the point I was making, sorry not to sidetrack too much, the point I was making is that what? Is that once you go into where the second covenant is fulfilled, okay, or is implemented rather more, then basically what's going to happen is you're going to have every Israelite, okay, born, okay, and in existence at that time, because the scripture says that what? They shall be changed in the twinkling of an eye. Well, basically what's going to happen is you're going to have all them Israelites, all the Israelites are going to be born and they're going to be having the laws within their minds. That's within the book of Hebrews, the 8th chapter and the 8th verse. Okay, so you ain't going to need no nation to come up against the Israelites and jack them up for going off. Jake ain't ever going to go off ever again, man. Because they're going to have what's known as what? The heart of flesh. That's within the book of Hebrews, the 8th chapter. Now you got these other nations talking about the new covenant. The new covenant was made for the 12 tribes of Israel exclusively. Okay? No. Okay, that was a covenant that the Most High made with who? With the 12 tribes of Israel. That wasn't no thing that the Most High was going to give unto these other nations. And it tells you that. It says I was going to establish this covenant with the house of Judah and with the house of Israel, not according to the covenant